in the corner, which it didn't the last time that we did it. Yeah, now it says webinar is streaming live on Facebook. Perfect. Yeah.
Nice.
And now
Okay.
it's on Sticker.
I'm gonna
Perfect.
minimize this out of this room.
And then you can mute your audio.
4 minutes to go and he shows up.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, he was out there with the cows, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Derek Lane.
And I was having chicken too, so you know.
Well,
follow the man for having some chicken.
Can't argue with chicken.
No.
Well, you can, but you'd lose.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. I think I'm the robot today. I have on bone conduction and I have on conventional headphones.
Yeah, you are. You win. That's you.
I can't do those bone conduction things. Like,
Really?
Yeah, I used to have some, and then I was walking around wearing them, listening to music, and I realised I was starting to pull stupid faces to get the bass response to be better. That was a bass cavity. So I sort of stopped.
Well, if y'all want more of that content, Audio Roundtable on your nearest podcast
device.
New ones now.
They come out once every 6 months. They're great. They're worth waiting for.
No, I'm not talking about the podcast. I'm talking about the bone conduction.
Oh, well, that's also the case. I mean, they're always releasing different frickin' Aftershocks things and things.
Yeah, I think maybe they really...
Never tried bone conductions headphones.
Oh, they're weird.
A friend of mine did. Well, because he had hearing aids, I think you called them.
Mm-hmm.
And so he thought that bone conductions were better. But I don't know.
What time you got it, Likey?
At 2 minutes to. It's 3:58.
So where are the attendees? Because I see none.
I haven't broadcasted yet. I'm just waiting until Nico says at 4 p.m.
Yeah. If you guys want to, turn your screen readers off or mute them until, you need them or something.
Wait. Why should I mute the screen?
Because...
you don't hear my screen reader, right?
Well, what I'm saying is for you.
Oh, yeah, so we don't hear Zoom notification. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep the sentence flowing.
And Sticko, just to let you know, I have allowed attendees to chat with no one, so that will stop their voice readers from going off as well.
You'll be able to see them, right?
Yeah, I'll be able to see them, and I'm gonna leave a message when we go live to please type questions in Q&A.
Okay, cool.
All right.
All right. Well, just let me know when you're gonna hit the live button and all.
Great. It's 3:59. Are you all ready?
Oh yeah.
All right.
I washed my face today.
All right. I'm going live in 3.
All right. Oh, what is this? Number 3 for us, I think. Number 3. Thanks everybody for coming to and showing up and wanting to learn more about the ever so powerful DAW, better known as Reaper. Today's panelist is this is all family. It's all IC Music trainers, individuals who work under the hood, who actually beta testers. They do all types of stuff for all things Reaper. And these individuals happen to be blind as well. So if you're blind and you're in Reaper or wanting to get into Reaper or have any kind of questions about Reaper, these are the gentlemen. I'll introduce them in a second. I just wanted to say a couple things, quick things. We will be doing a raffle coming up here at IC Music. And this raffle is going to include a free course of choice. So individuals who are interested in any kind of vocational training as far as audio technology is concerned and want to obtain that training here at IC Music, you can do so. If you win, you can do so for free if you win this raffle. all those details and things like that will be announced later, probably by next week or so. We'll start to put those things, the rules and all that kind of good stuff in motion. Welcome to IC Music, where we train the totally blind and visually impaired in audio technology and studio engineering as it pertains to adaptive technology. Like I said today, this is Reaper. I want to introduce Mr. Scott Chesworth, all the way from the UK, as well as Mr. Derek Lane, all the way from, what town are you in, Derek? I know it's North Carolina.
Yeah, Morganton,
North Carolina.
Yeah,
And,
it's far out. It's out in the country. Have a exercise bike and a turbine and batteries to get the house powered from electricity. So I had to do a lot of work to be here today. So,
Impressive.
Yeah.
All the way from. Are you in Florence? Florence, Italy. Am I right, Gianluca?
So I am in Florence, near Florence.
Gianluca Apolaro, my main man. Welcome to you. And the guy that I always I wake him up just because he's in the Southern Hemisphere. I call him at a reasonable time for me. How selfish, Mr. Garth Humphrey. Thank you. He'll be on the Mac today, but I don't know if it's going to be audible. But he'll be answering questions about the Mac side of Reaper.
The Mac's still asleep, so you know.
Okay. Yeah. So let's get it started, man. I mean, Reaper. 25 megs footprint space. I mean, can't say enough. Powerful, quick, customizable. We could keep going. I'm curious, Derek. I guess I'll start with you. What made you choose Reaper as a DAW?
Well, at the time when it first became accessible, thanks to Scott's efforts, it was the most powerful and most affordable solution. Yeah, so it just made sense. And I don't mean that as a double entendre. I just realized that sounded like one, but yeah. It had plug-in integration. I had been messing with Audacity for a while, and Audacity is its own strange animal. But Reaper is trustware, so it's free for 60 days, and then it starts nagging you, so you can buy it whenever. And I just thought, well, what a cool company if they trust their users to that degree, and they offer all kinds of cool flexibility in their program. Then how could I not try it?
In today's time, I think DAWs, we know Pro Tools is industry standard. It's in a lot of universities and, learning institutions / production houses. But Reaper, especially I think it's gaining some traction as far as like video gaming, stuff like that. And just, and basic audio production as well. I know, Scott, you use Reaper as well on a professional level. And I'm not saying you don't, Derek. I know you do. But in mixing and recording, some pretty fascinating stuff, which is, we can get into that later. But I'm just curious, man. Why your choice as the DAW? Because I think you have been in Pro Tools, and I think you've been in multiple DAWs.
I started off as a Pro Tools boy, and I was happy there. And then I got my laptop stolen from under a table in a pub, and couldn't afford another Mac to run Pro Tools. So I had a pretty battered up old PC laptop at the time. At the time, Sonar was the thing that everyone seemed to be using with screen readers. So I installed Sonar, did the worst 2 sessions of my life. It was like trying to make music in Microsoft Word. And then found out about Reaper. And then very early on, I kind of fell in with 2 Russian chaps that at the time were the people coding the accessibility bridge for it. And just kind of got hooked on like the rapid development environment of it. I kind of got hooked into the accessibility side of it really early, and I've just never left.
I'm not. I don't want to make this whole Q&A session. I want to hurry and get down to these questions because questions already started coming in per registration. So I'm gonna allow the first question, if we can, if you guys don't mind.
Yep.
Likey, if you could cue that first question up for us, and from that email. If you're not on mute.
Great. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yay.
Yep, got you now. Yep.
Perfect. All right, wonderful. Great. So what is it with all the compression? It seems to be a ubiquitous FX, and yet it doesn't apply in a live acoustic situation. How come there are so many presets for a compressor? Okay, more than one question. Basically, tell me about compression. Kind regards, Chris Goodwin.
All right, thanks for that question, Chris.
Oh, start with an easy one. Thanks, Chris. What is it with all the compression? I think it's just that in modern music, you're kind of conditioned to hear it because it gets used so ubiquitously that it's sort of like a self-fulfilling feedback loop. Like everyone's conditioned to hear compression, so everybody uses more and more compression. I mean, it's an amazing tool in the right hands. It can absolutely destroy a mix in the wrong hands. As for why there's so many presets, I think it's because compression is actually quite a difficult thing to dial in right, and it was one of the things that took me the longest to be able to hear well as my ears were developing. And so the presets are there because everyone wants to pick a preset and go from there and just tweak from there, I think.
Yep.
Which, isn't necessarily a terrible way to work. I think with something like compression that is difficult to get right, picking a preset and tweaking a little bit from there is probably the most sensible way to do it. One Reaper specific tip I can give you is that if all of those presets you're finding sound a bit too overcooked, a really easy way to dial that back is to tweak the wet dry mix. Every effect that you're going to run in Reaper has a wet dry mix. So you can do that by going into the Asara parameters window and just reintroduce a little bit of the dry signal, i.e. the uncompressed, unprocessed signal, and you'll be amazed what you can get away with just by introducing a little bit of that dry, unprocessed signal.
I think just in the basic culture of compression, because it's really that nowadays. Sampled instrumentation is the bulk of production, and it's already compressed. And so a lot of times to make those, a recorded voice as a source be to be married to that production, it takes compression to do that a lot. I think, you got, periods like, Al Schmidt, who, these guys, they're more interested in mic placement, in the type of music that they do. That stuff, dynamics is important. Individuals who record orchestras and stuff like that, they're more concerned with room and the performance more than the dialed in, hopped up, excited, loud, this and that, So so I think it is an interesting.
Do you think it might help certain people if we told them what compression was in the first place? For people not familiar with it?
I think that would be amazing.
Okay, so compression in brief can be something that, if used well, keeps stuff from getting too loud, right? Gets above a certain volume. It's something that kind of turns the volume down gently for you. So you can kind of keep things within a certain limit. I am yelling! And I'm not yelling anymore. But I had a compressor. Now, without, that would have been bad. That would have been really, really bad. Radio stations use compression to keep things at the same volume from song to song. TV stations use compression on shows to keep those at a certain volume, and basically a lack of compression on the commercials to make those obnoxiously loud. And that, in brief, is compression.
So essentially, in the context of music, if you get it dialed in right, it can do some of the lifting for you, and it can do some of the kind of dynamic control for you.
Ever heard somebody punch a vocal, like punch a word when they're singing? They just certain notes, they just sing way out.
Like you're saying, punch.
Yeah. Yeah, compression fixes it.
Yeah. It's any other questions? Like on deck.
Can we have an easier one?
Yes. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Perfect. We have hands raised as well, but we also have a Q&A question. Where would you like me to go, Sticko?
Whoever was first.
All right, great. We're gonna head over to Leo. Forgive me if I pronounce your name wrong. All right, you're live.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
Yes, my name is Liel, and I want to ask 2 questions. I use Reaper on Windows 10 with JAWS, and when I want to set the send and receive tracks, I can't do this because I set it up and when I press on Shift F10, I getting a close button, and no.
Yeah. Shift F10 doesn't work as you think it might in Reaper.
Yes, I have no application key.
Okay. The only solution, if you're trying to change what channels a send or receive transmits on, the only solution is you need to map yourself an applications key. So there's a free utility to do that called Sharp Keys, all one word, SHARPKEYS. Grab that, map yourself an applications key, and your life will become much, much easier.
Okay, and second question.
Yep.
I'm recording free on live 2 tracks, and when I record, I'm here good, but when I play the recording, I play very extremely weak. What I can do this? What do
you mean by weak? Like quiet?
Yeah, very quiet.
Turn the gain up on your interface, I'd guess.
Yes, I have sound cards. I have Tascam 2X4.
Yeah, so your gain probably needs to come up on
the
recording.
Yes, I put up, I turn up the gain on the physically on the sound card itself.
And it's still quiet.
Yeah.
What
the playing, not the recording.
Wait, are you monitoring through Reaper when you're recording, or you have that direct monitor on your sound card?
I have a direct monitor on sound card, and and
you're using that.
This. Yeah.
Well, another solution could be that you could normalize your items after you record it, so that then you can turn your tracks down if they're too loud, but that's the correct way should be to find a correct gain for your inputs. Because have you seen in Windows, because sometimes that can be affected. Now, I don't know that particular sound card, but have you seen the recording tab under audio and sound?
Okay. Yeah.
There,
Oh,
if your
I know.
levels are, maybe that could also, or of course, if you have knobs on that interface that you can turn up in the
I
inputs.
don't. I have not. I don't must to do on Reaper itself.
I'm stumped.
What now? What was that? The last part?
I don't need to do on Reaper.
Oh, right, okay.
No.
So what's your track volume set to?
I turned up to I think one or two decibels, I think.
Okay, short-term solution.
Okay.
When you record, just a short-term solution, after you finish recording, select the item that you've recorded and do Control-Shift-N, and that will raise the volume of that item so the loudest point is 0 decibels.
Yeah.
Short term, that should get you going. Longer term, get on either RWP or on the WhatsApp group, and we'll help you figure it out, because there's something complicated going on there, man.
Yes, it's very complicated. Thank you.
All right, no worries.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the question. Yeah, like any more questions?
Oh yes, we have questions. I'm gonna do Q&A. This is Tony Gebhardt, I believe. I'm investing in complete control along with a S49. How does Reaper on the Windows side work with the accessibility features implemented into their units? I own a Mac and use Logic Pro religiously, yet I'm impressed with Reaper's size and stability as a program. Thanks.
Okay, I can probably answer that. There is a driver developed by, well, there are two versions. One developed by Jamie, and another one based on that code developed by another guy who I don't remember the name of, but both of them work in the sense that they integrate features of, for example, they allow you to move between tracks, between instances of the complete control with the did you say A49, like an A key or an S? But anyway, there's a knob that if you push it downward or upward, it will change tracks. Now the difference between the two versions and is this: on the Jamie version developed by Jamie, when you go down, Osara will read the track that you're navigating to. The second version, it doesn't read it, but it moves it. But the advantage on the second version is that you also have the knob also moving by beat if you go right or left. And the 8 knobs are mappable in the effects parameter if you want to. They're MIDI. Basically, they don't. They can be also mapped. They did it so that you can map those knobs to other MIDI things in Reaper. Where in the Jamie, the version developed by Jamie, this is not a thing, or this was not a thing when I've tested it.
We kind of need those two people to come together and figure out both.
Yeah, because it's impressive what you can do. Like you can map the knobs in the effects configuration, and they stop acting on the complete control, and they work on your effect. So it's pretty cool what you can do with the second version of it. So I don't know if you guys have tried it, but it's pretty cool.
So to sum up, Tony, you grab one of those drivers, they're both free, and you stick them in your user plugins directory. You can only run one of them at a time. And as soon as you've plopped that in your user plugins and restarted Reaper, your integration works.
And in both versions, you have play, stop, and transmit button working properly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd say the integration isn't quite as good as Logic. Complete Control's Logic integration is about the best that there is.
Yeah.
But we're not lagging too far behind.
Oh, wow. Man, thanks, Tony. That was a cool question. Yeah, fire them up, Alaki, because it seems like we probably got a onslaught.
A lot of hands raised, so I'm going to go to Jesse, and you're allowed to talk. Here you go.
Hey, Jesse.
There we go. So I have a project here, and I have an issue where I'm trying to mix a couple different items together, and what it's doing is it's cutting off the end of one as it goes to the next. But in project preferences, or project properties, I have done this before. I have checked, and it's set to just try and mix them together, not to cut one off. So I'm trying to figure out what's happening here.
Do you have auto crossfade turned on? Maybe that overrides the preference.
Not that I know of. No, I don't think so.
Press Alt X and see if what it says.
Press what? Sorry, Derek.
Alt X, I believe it is.
Alt X.
I'm checking myself.
It just said crossfade off.
All right, now see what happens.
So if you try making that edit again, it probably won't. I don't think it will retroactively get rid of the crossfade that is applied.
Oh, yeah, because it's already set for that item.
So if you try mixing those items again, that should work, hopefully.
And another thing that you can try is selecting both items, going applications menu. I believe it's either under item settings or under that menu that comes straight. There is a mix behavior. Set it there that they always mix. Even though you've done it in the preferences, set it also in that menu.
Oh, and so what I'm thinking too, if to get back what I lost, could I just find the item and then not nudge it, try and untrim it?
Throw the edge of that
So
item. That could help you.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Cool.
You know, that's I think that's cool. You know, if people have the DAWs open, and want to put the answer to through the fire. I think that's absolutely useful. Yeah. Next question, I guess.
All right, comes from Chris Turner. You're allowed to talk, Chris. Got you.
One of my countrymen.
Uh-oh.
Hey guys.
Hey, Chris.
Bit of a curveball question, I suppose, but you've all been using Reaper a lot longer than me, and we all love it. So, looking at it the other way, what is the most annoying feature or thing that annoys you about Reaper, or the thing it doesn't do that you wish it did?
Round table. Here we go.
Are we talking Reaper or Asara?
I guess just the whole workflow. I mean, I can't actually. There's a couple I can think of, but I think that's just my still learning my way around it all.
Well, give us yours that you're struggling with, because otherwise this is just going to turn into a bitch fest.
Oh man, it's going to make me sound like I should be doing this, didn't I know? But there's
that's what we're here for.
So when I'm recording a lot, I tend to kind of compose things and come up with ideas at the door a lot. So I record, overdub, make horrendous mistakes, and items just pile up. Where I just want it to have one item for every time I record, so I don't end up with like 50 items on a guitar track. Just 3 for the 3 times I press record.
And I guess you're talking about MIDI recording.
More so on audio. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there's 2 solutions.
So there's a couple of solutions.
If you're going to be taking sections at a time, then start trying to use time selection auto punch record mode. You'll find it in the options menu. Once you've got that set, make a time selection around that area that you're going to record, and Reaper will only capture within that time selection. The advantage of that is that all of your items are then going to be a uniform length, and then Reaper can stack them up as takes.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Takes is still something I need to explore, actually.
Takes is super easy, man. When you've got an item that contains multiple takes, you just select it with your control left and right arrows, and then T will cycle you forward a take, Shift T will cycle you back a take.
Cool. Cheers.
Yeah. So
Nice.
the other thing you can do is that if you're not taking, if you're not composing section by section, if you just want to kind of play until you make a mistake and then figure it out from there, the other record mode that will be good for you is also in the options menu, auto punch selected items. If you select that one, select the item that you're going to punch over, it captures just that item, and if you run longer, it'll extend the length for that item instead of piling up tons of items for every time you record.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely need to experiment. Cheers.
Another thing about selection, all these item select and time select modes too, is that because you can play out of your selection and keep the selection, preserve it regardless of where your cursor is, you could back up a little bit, and so you kind of play with what's on the track to kind of get back into the flow of things, and then when you come to your selection, it'll drop out your recording, and then after the end of the selection, it'll drop back in with what was there.
And just because Reaper has millions ways of doing something and they're all correct, you can also set a pre-roll under the metronome settings and have like 2 measures, so you don't have to back up. You just hit R and you hear 2 measures before, and you will play, and then when it gets where your time selection is, it will just start recording. Now the truth is actually it starts recording even earlier, but we just don't hear it when you hear it back.
I think the trick to getting productive with recording yourself, Chris, is to try a bit of experimentation with all of these methods. Find the one that makes the most sense to you and then never change it. Just always do it that way.
So
I think I need a MIDI punch pedal as well, but that's another story.
Yeah, dude, definitely get a momentary MIDI foot switch. Foot punching with your foot when you're trying to track yourself playing guitar is a game changer.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice.
You got any others?
What was the question?
I said, is he
any other questions?
Chris, that we can.
No, that's the main thing that's been bugging me lately. Just composing at the DAW. I know isn't always productive, but you've got all that power in front of you, so it's quite sort of tempting just to throw stuff at the the scrapbook kind of thing.
Yeah, try those record modes, man. They'll definitely make you more productive.
Man.
Cool. Cheers,
You're
guys.
not using takes at the moment as well. Like takes is definitely a thing that you should get into for sure. But if you're not using them at the moment, new recording that overlaps existing recording, change that from the default to the tape mode, and stuff will probably act a little bit more the way you would expect it to. You wouldn't end up with so many items everywhere.
Oh yeah, that's also in the options menu. So you want to go options, then new recording that overlaps existing recording. In that sub menu, set it to tape mode, and that turns off the take system if that's something that's confusing you.
Okay.
So when you start recording over something, instead of ending up with, say you've got, you've recorded first verse, first chorus, and then you start from the first chorus again. At the moment, you'll have 3 takes there. You'll have you'll have 3 items, won't you? Because you've gone past your second recording. Let's say you do chorus, verse 2. You'll have, 3 items for each one. If you change that to tape mode and you start on that first chorus, you'll just end up with that second item. The new recording will just be that one item, instead of creating all these extra items that you don't want.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, because I tend to end up with 20, 30 items and then just glue them all and then split them again where it seems logical.
Yeah. Thanks for that question. Hey, look, Chris, in case you didn't already know, there's 10 ways to do what you just asked to do. I thought I threw that in there. But yeah, that's I mean, that's like just the world of digital recording. It's just like that, you know. You got multiple ways just to accommodate multiple workflows. It just makes sense. I guess we got more questions. I guess we're good to the next one. I mean, you guys really know the answer to the questions. I'm impressed.
We have Jesse. Jesse is next. Jesse, you're on deck and you're unmuted.
Jesse.
Jesse also asked his question in Q&A. So...
There we go. Hello.
Oh, there we are. Okay, great.
All right. Hey, Jesse.
So I posed a question in Q&A, but I thought I lowered my hand. The undo history dialog. I know that's a thing with Control-Alt-Z, but let's say I have, I don't know, 200, 300 things in it, but I only want to undo one thing without undoing, like reloading the entire undo state. So if I have something 20 items down, is there any way to undo that specific thing from within the dialog?
Not that I'm aware of. Anybody else?
No, I don't think so either. I think you get from that point to, you know.
That's
Undo's quite that clever yet, dude. Sorry.
Give it another version. And there'll be like undo history and predictive undo, so it can figure out what you might not like in the future before you've done it. And, you know.
Smart undo.
Thanks again, Jesse. Thanks again, man. Yeah, Likey. What we got next?
Wonderful. We have Patrick on deck.
Patrick.
Great. Patrick, are you there?
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hey, Patrick.
Okay, great. I have a very short question. My question relates to I'm comparing Logic to Reaper in terms of making audio and editing audio. Could you explain how quick an audio editing process can be? I mean, setting marker, splitting marker, deleting stuff, and things like that.
Okay, so there's advantages and disadvantages to every DAW. I'd say that Logic's advantage is the stock content it comes with. Reaper leaves it in the dust when it comes to productive audio editing, because everything is item-based. Interacting with all of the stuff you need is super productive with a screen reader. Everything is context sensitive as well, which helps massively. And you can customize what gets reported a bit more in Reaper than you can in Logic. So it's a more productive audio editing experience, and it's also a more productive screen reader experience in a lot of ways, I would say, especially if you're on Windows.
There is no mix window. There is no edit window. There is nothing like that.
In one window all of the time. So you're not jumping around, and there's very little actual object-based navigation of a GUI involved, like there is Logic.
I will be on the Mac, not on Windows.
Okay, it's still
the same answer.
In terms of audio editing, it still beats it hands down.
Okay, well, thanks.
Thank you, Patrick. All the way from Germany.
So we have a Q&A question from
Let's do it.
Maddie. Hello. What sound settings do you recommend for an old system with a Realtek internal sound card and a dual core CPU with minimal latency? For me, WASAPI, forgive me, I think it's Wasapi. I don't know if
Yep.
Okay, cool. Has least latency, but if I lower block size less than 512, everything else becomes clicky.
Yeah,
that's about what
get that on that system. Like,
did you turn off enhancements? So some Realtek chips have like gimmicks, like where they'll try to do the bass boost, or you'll have reverb just for some stupid god awful random reason without you having to do anything. And stuff like that takes up processing power that could otherwise be devoted to Reaper.
So you can disable that stuff if that stuff is running in Control Panel, go into Sound, and have a look in the properties for your Realtek in recording and in playback to see if there's anything in there you can disable to cut down a bit of overhead. But I think you might just be kind of taxing that system to its limit. You're really only going to get so far with a Realtek chip. And I'm not saying that from any sort of snobby kind of point of view. Like, it's super cheap to buy into getting an external interface now, and you can get insane performance for like $50.
One thing on the Realtek thing, if you happen to have one of those small, like how do you guys call them? Those interfaces that are like very small, like a pen drive kind of type, and you can send your screen reader over there. If you go Realtek Wasapi exclusive, not shared, and this is why I said put the screen reader on your little USB thing, you might get better results with block size and so on. I've seen it work in certain machine, 10 millisecond latency. And so yeah, this is another little thing that if you have to use Realtek and you happen to have another cheap like sound card, that's like one of those little pen drive sound card, you might try the exclusive mode in Wasapi.
You get those little pen drive kind of sound devices for like $10 on Amazon.
So for anyone who has questions, and your questions, may not, we may not get to them. You can definitely, use the registration to put forth these questions, or join, any one of the resources, the Reaper resources. And what we'll do is we'll forward those questions to these guys who know the answer, and then you'll get a response that way as well. I guess we could go to the next question. I'm down with it if you guys are.
Yep.
Ron Bates, you're allowed to talk. You're unmuted.
Ron Bates, the great state of Washington.
Hey guys.
Hey Ron.
Hey, I don't have a question, but I have a comment for y'all, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. So currently, I'm working with IC Music, and I come from Sonar, and when that stopped working, I needed a new home, so I searched around, tried to find the options, such as Logic and Samplitude and Reaper, and Reaper just seemed like the go-to choice for me due to the lightweight and all the functionality, and the sky's the limit as far as that program's concerned from what I was reading, and I found IC Music online, through Google search, and I just wanted to, I highly recommend working with IC Music. If any of y'all get a chance to do that, I'm about halfway through working with IC Music. I've taken Reaper 1 and just wrapping up audio production, and they've been major assets to me learning Reaper and filling in the holes for audio, for any of you that need that. So I'd highly, recommend working with them, and it's not just a crash course, but curriculum, and that's the bonus there. So just wanted to
just
throw that
confirm for everybody listening that you're not Ron, because that was a glowing endorsement.
Man, yeah.
What's that?
I wouldn't want anyone thinking that we put you up to that. Just confirm that we didn't ask you to say that.
Oh yes, this is brought to you by IC Music. So yeah, that's why I threw in the Google part. So I had no idea that the company existed. I worked with Dancing Dots, and got a crash course with Sonar, and of course, it soon after broke and didn't work with any of my plugins and things like that. As other people are probably were in my situation trying to find a new home, and I just Googled it up, and it was at the top of the search, and unknown to me from Washington State here. And then, come to find out that, the world. So I thought that was really cool, dealing with other cultures and different people, but all working in the same vehicle. So it's been a big asset to me, and I'm also, I'm just really happy with what's going on here, and really happy with Reaper. Super cool program. That's what I wanted to add.
It's working for you.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Ron, like you said, he's been with us since since March, and late February or something like that, and he has a couple more courses to go, but he's a high functioning as far as his vocation is concerned. He's singer songwriter, and he is doing that professionally. And that means a lot coming from someone who. Also, I believe, Ron, you have a degree in IT as well. So I mean, it's not like this is, it's not. I think the fundamentals of Reaper and accessibility is really, like I tell people all the time. This is not education. It's a vocational rehabilitation program. That's really what we are at the end of the day. We're not looking to replace any kind of educational institution. We work in tandem. And so folks who are looking for a vocational option, this is that kind of thing. If this is the industry that you want to get in. So Ron, that means a lot to me. I'm sure it does to your instructors, which two of them are on the line that you right now, that there's two of them on the line that you're going to be seeing in a little bit.
Yes, sir. And you know what? Another, thing that just come to mind is just the fact that there is, like I said, curriculum, and I really prefer that, because it keeps things organized, and it actually, has certain A to Z focus, but there is some flexibility, which I enjoy also. I can ask some questions, and I can, we can, slight tangents and things, and because everybody has their own personal hangups and interests, and nobody's going to have the same wants and likes and whatnot.
Absolutely.
It's the one-on-one focus that you get, isn't it? That you can't
Yes,
really
sir.
get in most places that have got a curriculum.
Yeah.
It's kind of the best of both worlds, hopefully.
Yeah, no, it's super cool, and I appreciate the webinar and the training. So,
and that was your mixing mindset behind mixing instructor talking to you. Right.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Haven't done that class yet, but looking forward to it.
Yeah.
See you in a couple of months.
All right.
All right. Thanks. Man, thanks, Ron, for that. That endorsement didn't cost IC Music a dime, so I'm excited about that. I like you.
All right. Hey, Gary, you're live, and we're ready for you.
Gary.
Might be another one of my countrymen, if it's the guy I'm thinking it is.
Here we are. Sorry, you can probably hear me now, can you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely, Gary.
Hello, and hello to you all, and thank you very much for doing this. It's really nice of you.
Thank you, sir.
I've got three cheeky, quick questions, if I may, from a locked down DC, with my smelly face mask now not on, so you'll be pleased to hear. Now, listen, you were talking about compression earlier. I still don't understand, and I use the Reaper on both the Mac and the PC, and I'm very glad for the Asara P key and all that. But I don't understand the values when you're trying to do compression in those in there. I mean, how do they relate to, the threshold dB, the ratio? They just they're like 0.0. I mean, they're like, I don't understand how to use it.
You want me to get this real quick?
Yep.
Okay. So that's a lie. All right. So, so picture as you're recording audio, like you're recording it on a graph, and the louder you are, the closer to the top you are to the graph.
Yeah.
So those numbers count from the loudest to softest. You start at 0. That's as loud as you can get without going into distortion. And then it goes -1, negative, all the way down.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the big parameters to consider are the threshold. So how loud does something have to be before the compressor cares about it? How loud does something have to be before the volume is reduced?
I get that, Derek. What I don't understand is that there's a literal the actual controls in that P key dialogue thing. How do I make it minus?
Are you using
2
JAWS
dB?
or NVDA?
Well, I use JAWS and also VoiceOver on the Mac, so I use both.
Gary, are you only seeing like values from
Yes.
0.0 to
0 to 1.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Then it means that you do not have the Snowman scripts for
Jaws
JAWS.
scripts. Yeah.
You need those.
Okay.
Right.
And then you're going to get real world values.
What about the Mac? What about on the Mac?
Yeah, which compressor plugin are you trying to use?
Just the Recomp one.
Wow.
I mostly use the effects dialog for that one.
Be happening.
He said, "What about on the Mac?"
I saw the parameters on the Mac under the P key.
Let's
I
have a look.
think.
Yeah.
They still have funny, weird percentage. I mean, you can interact. I mean, on the Mac, you can interact with it, and you can hold the arrow down key like a million times. Then you can eventually go back into the FX dialog and kind of see what effect it's had. But I mean, as a workflow,
what was it, Derek? That thing that you found on the parameter dialog on the Mac that you need to hit a key and then you can tab.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try to
that?
explain that. I'm leaving that up to Garth. I'm just not even going to.
Okay, yeah, there's a way to do it.
But forgive me. So, am I right in thinking that the Snowman scripts will fix that on the PC?
Yes,
I do edit on both.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
cool.
when you're seeing that 0.0 to 1.0 range, Gary, are you looking at the sliders or are you looking at the edit field? Because the edit field is always going to be that, but the sliders should be showing you real values.
With under OS 10, if you tab from, say you pick the threshold in that original drop down.
So you press the P key and then you voice over VO space on the threshold. Yeah.
So you've got VO space on the threshold. Well, to select threshold.
Yes.
Then just tab into the slider.
Yes.
From there.
Yes.
Basically, treat this dialogue like you're on Windows. Forget that you're on Mac. Don't try and interact with anything. Just pretend you're on Windows.
Okay.
And tab around it. So when you hit that slider, you can now use your arrows, your page up, page down, your home and end, and you'll get real world values out of it.
Oh, you do? You get dB values, do you?
You get,
okay.
You do.
Like Garth said, tab and your arrow keys essentially treat that dialogue like you're on Windows. The reason that it is the way it is that the Mac port of Asara is a bit of a hack, and we haven't quite figured out how to get that parameters dialogue to behave so that you can interact it with voice. So you can interact with VoiceOver yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be quick
because interact with that slider.
Okay, I'll be quick because I don't want to hog the thing. But there's my second of three is this. I do a lot of. I don't do music. I'm not a musician. I can play one bar chord basically. But so I do speech, and I do what we call packages, which are mixtures of interview clips, my script, actuality, which is what the word I use for like atmospheric sound. When you're out, you record some stuff. So what I want to do in a project is I want to put all that stuff into a project, including the raw interviews, on their own track, and take bits out of them and record my links on a separate track and the atmospheric for another track, and cut bits and copy into a sort of, so that I have a sort of three-track project, but all the other stuff is still in the project. And I want it to remain in the project. I want it to be saved in the project because I might, someone might ask me to do a recut or a shorter version. And what I'm trying to work out is how, when I've got the 3 tracks that have, my interview clips on one track, my voice clips on another track, the actuality on the third track, how do I just render those 3 tracks as a single file out of the project? Because if I select render selected tracks via master, it renders 3 tracks. I want one.
Okay. So
you might want to solo them and render that master.
Depending on how many tracks.
Say that again. Tell me that again.
3 tracks that have got your comp material, like your
finished. Yes. Yep.
That's 3 tracks.
Yes.
Time selection around that area, that length for the project. So start of the time selection wherever it starts and end of the time selection wherever it ends.
Yes.
And then in the render dialog, choose master mix, and that will just render a stereo bounce of what you've got soloed. And in the bounds setting, choose time selection, and that will make it so the render is.
I'm sorry, I'm just writing. Hang on one second. In the bounds, what did you say in the bounds?
In the bounds combo box, you want to choose time selection. Okay.
So I mean, what I've tried before is muting all the stuff I didn't want. That didn't seem to work at all.
I think what you were doing before was muting separate track, like you were sending each track and rendering it as an individual file, which, by the way, if someone were pulling that into Logic or Pro Tools would be perfect.
Yeah, but the option that was making it behave the way it was the selected tracks via master. That's going to give you separate tracks running through master bus, any master bus processing you've got. But if you pick the topmost option, master mix, that will give you just a single stereo file.
And so if I solo the tracks I want and pick master mix and do the time selection thing, that will give me one file.
Yep.
Okay. Can I ask my third question very quickly? I don't want to hog the
time. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So the thing I've noticed over time is that speech, or at least my speech, I think, when I'm recording, is ridiculously dynamic. In other words, if I if I set my levels and I'm peaking at between -18 and -12, I can sort of record something that's 30 seconds long, and the RMS is down in the 30s, for example. And so when I want then to do a loudness normalize, I work for a broadcaster, and our sort of standard loudness normalization is -16 LUFS. Pretty much all the time, stuff of mine goes over zero, even though I've recorded at -12, and the RMS, but the RMS is really low, and I'm trying to work out, is that just me, or am I putting the loudness in the wrong, the normalization in the wrong place, or
that's just the human voice. That is, you're not going to get something up at -16 without using a bit of compression, unless you talk very, very modulated.
Perfectly normal, man. -16 is really loud for spoken.
It is quite loud, but that's what we broadcast at.
That's standard. That's a pretty standard sort of.
Yeah. I mean, TV is -23 in Europe.
Yeah.
So what happens if you were to normalize to -16, right? And now you're going over the top, but then put a limiter on it like W1. I love the W1 limiter plugin. It's not part of Reaper, but it's a beautifully smooth limiter.
So Derek, would you do the normalization on the bits themselves, or would you render the track out, then do the loudness normalization, and then do a re-render with a compressor on the master track of that re-rendered file?
I've done both. What do you guys think?
If you want to hit -16 exactly, and you want to know that you're doing it, if it's ish, then I usually just play with the values, get it right. Yeah, that comes out. That's about right. That's fine. But if you want to hit it exactly, I would render it out, get yourself a WAV file, and then remaster that one.
I see.
Put W1, in fact, on the actual item rather than the
track. On the item, not on the master.
If you put it on the item, you can then use your the loudness tool that's in there to
SWS
to go to
window.
Yeah.
Right.
To go
would
to
it
exactly,
normalize the limited level, or would it limit the?
So if you normalize the track, then it will take into account what W1 is doing as well. Whereas if you put W1 on the track,
because item goes before the tracks. Yep.
Yeah.
So just tell me that again. So just say that to me again, just so I grasp that.
W1. So you've got a master. You've got a file that you want to master.
A WAV. Yeah.
Terms, yeah. Put W1 on the item itself. And well, you're already going to be close, right? So this is just to get really, really close. If you put W1 on the item and then normalize the track, the normalization will take into account what W1 is doing to that item. So you'll already need to
right.
make sure that there's enough headroom there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will work.
So the chain is that the item, then so if you put if you put the W1 limiter on the item, the sort of if I'm visualizing it as a blind person, obviously, it's item then W1 then the normalization.
Then the track volume. Yeah.
Right.
So when Reaper measures,
So you're running.
normalizes
That's
that
what I mean. You
track
need to make
going
sure you've
through
got the headroom
W1
still.
processing.
Yes. Yeah. Would you then just put a I mean W1 makes sure you don't go over, surely.
Yeah, but you're going to then change the level of that track. So even
Right.
though
I see.
So-
Afterwards.
W1 on your master, not
Oh,
really
I see.
Yeah.
but
So you
just
put
if you're in
W1 on your master. But the only reason for doing it that way really is so that you can measure what W1's doing, right?
Right. Yeah.
If you've got something at, let's say, -16, and then you put W1 on the master, that is going to, if W1's doing anything at all, in the ideal world, W1's not doing anything because you've already got the levels where you want them.
Yeah.
But if it's doing something, it is affecting the dynamics of that piece, of that audio, and it's going to change what it measures at.
It's just really strange when recording that just almost sometimes just the beginning of words can be so much louder, can be a real, and it can be deceptive in terms of the overall sort of loudness of the
human voice
piece.
is very dynamic, man. And the other thing to take into account here is that when we're measuring loudness, when we're looking at it like on when we're hearing numbers on a peak meter, it's actually not a very good method for understanding what's going on.
You've got to listen to it.
Just getting snapshots at that split second.
Yeah,
it's actually much easier to track a needle bouncing on a meter visually, or lights lighting up on a meter on a sliding scale visually. So I'd say the other thing maybe to start thinking about doing is maybe start bringing some referencing into your process if you don't already do that.
Just a track that is right, basically, and listen to it in comparison.
To aim for, and then you can kind of do a lot more of it by ear and not beat yourself up too much about the numbers until
I do get a bit obsessed by the numbers, to be fair.
Yeah, we all do, man. We all do. But referencing is the way to head that off.
Can I say thank you very much again, guys? It's really appreciated.
Man, awesome questions. Oh, I like it.
Awesome. Owen, you are live and we're ready for your question.
Hello?
Hey, Owen.
Alrighty. So in a lot of the projects I'm doing, I like to have an idea of how many BPMs my project's at, but when I go into the project menu with Alt-Enter, I'm on a PC with NVDA, it always reports them at 133 BPMs unless I manually change it, even when my track is clearly not at 133 BPMs. Am I doing something wrong?
Is this
you're not.
You've imported, or is it stuff that you've played in?
A lot of it's imported.
Okay.
Would that be the issue?
So, yeah, the project BPM is just a fixed value that the metronome is going to play at. It's just a tempo that the metronome's going to play at. That's all it is. When you import media, that doesn't affect the project BPM. You'd actually have to manually lock the project BPM to be in track with that thing that you've imported.
I guess then, is there an actual way to find out the BPM of your imported media? Is that possible?
Yeah. Are you in the Reaper Dropbox?
I'm on the email list and the WhatsApp group. I am not in the Reaper Dropbox, however.
Okay, send an email about this to RWP or the WhatsApp group, and I'll link you to a couple of quick tutorials that I've made on how to find out the BPM of stuff that you've imported.
Alrighty, and
to go through here, but there's 2 ways of doing it that are super quick.
Okay, that's awesome. Thanks. Now, with the MP3s, exporting to MP3, I'm having an issue where when I export, it cuts my project off at a set time. Even when I have the full thing selected, it does not go to the end. It cuts it off, and I think it's 2 minutes and 35 seconds, no matter what I actually have selected, if it's the full thing or not.
Ooh. Yeah, maybe it's time.
One thing that comes to mind is, are you sure you don't have a time selection and render time selection only? That's the only thing I can think of.
You said your BPM is always reported at 133, not 120?
Yeah.
Oh, well, because when I did one project, I set it to 133.
Ooh, I bet I know what happened.
It stayed there forever.
And then it saved it as default settings.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what's the easiest way to get him to revert projects to their defaults?
Yeah.
You have to uninstall everything, Nate. I'm kidding.
No, but the thing is, why it cuts the render. It doesn't. The BPM should not affect that part. I mean, if the if the file is imported after setting the BPM, which is currently what's happening here, when you render it out, you shouldn't get a cut version of that unless you have a selection.
I before I set the BPMs too, I've done it and it's cut it. So
I think probably the thing to do with this one, Owen, is get on the WhatsApp, lock your recording, tab through your render dialog, and show us what everything is set to.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll stand a chance of figuring out where.
Yeah. Another thing you can try is, instead of using the render dialog, you might want to try to use the bounce dialog. And another thing you can try is hit all Control Shift and backspace. That will also put the master playback rate to 0. Maybe you've inadvertently changed that. So just things to try.
And I feel like in the latest update, the render dialog has changed. Before it would just show
big time
primary, secondary. Now I didn't like that.
It's very useful because you can render 2 files at once. You can have a WAV and an MP3 rendered in one go.
It's one of those things where if you don't need the secondary format, just ignore it.
So how do you set your primary to all, like when you render to MP3 or a second, like how do you set your primary or secondary defaults? Because no matter how many times I change it, it always sets back to WAV files. And I
would say if you always want to use the same render settings, set them up once, and instead of clicking render, do the save and close button.
Oh yeah, okay.
Then go into project settings, Alt Enter, and do save as default project settings, and that should preserve those settings that are in the render dialog. It should do. I haven't actually tried it, but it should do.
Another thing is, instead of doing Alt Control R, I believe in Alt R, you can have a, let me actually check that. Yes, render project using the most recent render settings with new target name. So that is another way of doing that with the most recent settings.
And that's with Control R. Yeah, I got to update to 6.10. I'm still
no, it's Alt R, Alt R, not Control R, Alt R.
And literally, you just type a file name, press enter, and that's it. Like,
and that's it.
Thanks. That I forgot about that myself.
That's awesome. That's
I use it a lot because it really, when I have to render files that are similar, I use that one.
Because I'm using Reaper in 2 school courses right now, and they usually require me to render it to MP3s. So yeah, this has been very helpful. I'm a relative newbie to Reaper. I've only been around it since January, so I'm jumping right in. I'm loving it.
Nice. Hey, Owen, thanks for the question.
Yeah, and I'll be on it with the Reaper Dropbox too. I'm very anxious to get into that now that I've.
Yeah,
cool.
Send me your email address and I can invite you.
All right, I'll send it to the RWP, I guess. And perfect.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Owen. Yeah, Lucky. We do we have any more?
Oh, we certainly do. We have 8 more questions. Hopefully.
What time is it?
It is 5:05.
So we got what? 55 minutes.
Halfway mark.
Great. All right. So next on deck is Kevin. And you are live, Kevin.
It depends on which Kevin this is.
Hello there.
Kevin.
Oh,
he's quick off the mark. What you got for us, Kevin?
You can hear me, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I am a very recent newbie user since about last month, and I haven't done anything with it because I don't understand it. I come from SoundForge realm, and it's totally different than that. And what do I do to figure out how to use this program, and what do I need to use it?
Have you got everything installed? You got Reaper, Asara, and SWS installed, right?
No, I just got Reaper. I didn't know about the others. That's why I'm asking.
Oh wow! No wonder you're struggling.
Okay.
Okay. Are you on Mac or PC?
Please.
I'm on a PC.
Okay. So what you need to do is go to Asara, osara.reaperaccessibility.com. Download that, install it. Go to sws-extension. Is it com or org? It's sws-extension.org and install that as well. Those two plugins provide a huge amount of the accessibility that you're going to need. Once you've done that and you've got that stuff installed, probably the best place to get started is reproducer.com, reaproducer.com. There's tutorials there that will go right through from ground zero and introduce you to like basic editing, basic recording, all of that stuff.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need that second site of SWS because I was typing stuff in, so I have a list of it.
Okay, so sws-extension.org.
Please.
sws-extension.org. Okay. And with those other stuff, tell me the terms. Like I don't know what render and punch and I don't know anything. The only thing I know is crossfade.
Okay, render is exporting the project when you're done. So if you're working on stuff and you're chopping up loads of bits and bobs and arranging things and whatever, render is the last process where you'd bounce that down to a stereo file that can be played on any device. Punch is essentially replacing a piece of audio or MIDI that you've already recorded, but you need to get a better version of it or fix a mistake or whatever. When we replace over a piece of stuff that we've already recorded, we call that punching over it or punching in.
Please.
Okay, that makes sense. So
get those two things installed, man. It's going to be much more usable for you after you've done that.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks. Hey, thanks, Kevin. I thought you was another Kevin, but very cool question. I want to say this too here again. So coming up soon, we're going to be doing these raffle for a free course here at IC Music of choice. So any course that we have listed on the website, which is icmusic.org or as of today, icmusic.com. And you could go there and look up the courses and look at the LTAs, which stands for learner takeaways. Decide which one you may want. Hopefully your name will be drawn at a later date. And those rules and all the whatevers and all that great stuff will be, I'll be talking about that stuff later on, and we'll figure it out from there. Anyway, next question.
Great. This is a follow-up real quick on Q&A with Liel. Where can I find the plugins for Reaper like EQ, compressor, reverb, and etc., etc.?
Hit F on a track and have a look in the effects browser. They are all in there. Make sure that the first combo box is set to all plugins. Hit tab from there and you'll find every plugin you've got installed in a big long list.
And if you want to know what Reaper stock plugins you can get are the caucus category, and you can find their own compressor, EQ, reverb, and so on, and Retune and other plugins. If you want other very cool plugins, are the JS plugins. They're very, very, very powerful plugins.
All of that stuff that we just mentioned, all of it comes installed with Reaper by default.
Yep.
Nice.
Great. We have another Q&A follow-up from Gary. Forgot to ask Scott, there was talk of some kind of Reaper course that you were working on. Is that something that might still happen?
Oh, Gary. It is going to happen because I've already sort of been paid to make it, so I'm obligated to make it happen. The hold up is me. The hold up is entirely me, and the hold up at the moment is that because everybody's in lockdown, I have got neighbors on the other side of every thin, flat surface, and I just don't have a quiet recording environment. I'm hoping to get some isolation happening here in like mid-June. So it is going to happen.
Awesome. So now we're on to Sean. And Sean, you are live.
Sean.
Which Sean is it?
Right. Yeah, we never know.
The Sean surprise.
Hold on.
The best Sean there is.
I hate to interrupt,
Oh,
but Gary
Sean.
typed in one more thing and he put, so you've spent it all on beer. That's what he said. I just had to share that.
And something else. So we're not going to talk about it.
Sorry, Sean. I didn't mean to interject.
You're fine. So I know the undo files are great, and I've used them. They're a little bit too helpful in the fact that I can undo moving, like highlighting items. How can I turn that off? Because it's kind of annoying.
Preferences,
top level of your preferences.
general category. There's a whole bunch of checkboxes in there that by default are all checked, and they shouldn't be, because it keeps track of a ridiculous amount of stuff. So go preferences, general, uncheck a whole bunch of those checkboxes, and you probably won't be able to get it to keep track of as little as you would like. I think Reaper's undo is a bit too fastidious for me, even with most of it turned off, but it does help.
Awesome. Thank you.
No worries.
Hey, thank you, Sean, for the question, man. Hey, so the undo, how many undos do you get?
You can
To the beginning.
Yeah, to the beginning of time, pretty much, if you've got enough hard drive space to save the undo file.
And even if you've saved the project, you can save the undo history. So if you're like, I didn't mean to save that, how many of us have been writing and we hit save and we're like, that was stupid. It was better before I went.
You can just go back and pretend it never happened.
Yep.
The world of the computers. Hey, Likey, next question.
Steve Gladstone, you're live, and we're ready for you.
Steve. I totally don't know these folks. I'm acting like I know who these folks are.
She ain't go off by dinner with most of them.
Steve, are you there? Hello?
I don't even know the panelists.
Okay, so maybe we give Steve maybe like 30 more seconds.
Probably more like 6.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Oh, there you
In
are.
the nick of time.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, hello, mates. Hello, mate.
How you feeling, Steve?
All right. I've been looking for a recording, mixing solution for the past 118 years.
Ooh.
I am not a propeller head. I'm not technically oriented. I'm just a music guy. So when I hear words like compression and latency and plugin, it's all Greek to me, and I don't speak Greek.
What about Latin?
Dabuteus et quoque fina. Yeah.
Because you can have plug-in and compression and
Yes. So here's my question. I also
and reverberus.
And delay him.
I've been on the Reaper. I've been on the Reaper list for about a year, and I watch about 83 emails a day fly across my inbox. and it makes my head spin.
Whew, yeah.
So,
yeah.
I have tried connecting with a couple people. I dropped a couple coins in their PayPals, and within 30 seconds of speaking to them, my brain goes numb. So, I'm also not good with tutorials. I am very good with human-to-human conversation contact. So
you're at the right place.
I'm trying to.
You got the right place, yeah, and the right people.
I'm trying to figure out how to get started because my knowledge can fill a thimble, and
what would that be, guys?
I would like to say, let me give out some props here.
Yeah.
Listening to you guys today, the guy who explained compression at the top of this session, I could understand him. Amazing.
That would be your instructor.
And the English bloke, maybe your name is Scott, the very mellow English guy.
That's
I can understand you. And I'm going like, wow, I need to speak to these guys. So how do I get a tutor, a mentor, someone I can speak to tell me how to get bloody started on this thing? Because I'm not sophisticated. I don't need to be sophisticated. I don't need any more than 4 tracks. I don't need EQ. I don't need fancy this or that. I'm very happy with the sound in the room. I want to lay down a vocal, a guitar, a keyboard, and be happy.
I tell you, I'll take this because so we do hourly rates here as well, outside of the courses, but still within inside of the course content. So if you contact us, just go on the website, ISEEMUSIC.org, and just fill out the contact page, and and you can just I'll remember your name, but just put in there, that you spoke at the webinar today, and we will get you going in the right direction, because it sounds like if it's not just a push, then maybe you may need a course, right? Because I think that the cool thing is that these courses are customizable to the extent where you need it to your workflow, which is kind of what you're kind of getting at. And that's the cool thing about Reaper, I think, at the end of the day too, as well, right? Because it's so highly customizable that you can get lost in choices and options of how to make things work. So maybe just checking in and seeing if maybe just a couple of hours up front, say, hey, look, this is what you can do. Here's how you do this and that and that. And if you think you need more, then we can credit those hours towards a course.
Can I tell a quick story about things that I did with Reaper and people? Well, it was a couple of years ago. Was before I met Byron. Was this girl who knew nothing about Reaper at all, and she knows not much about effects and so on. She wanted to be able to send me tracks, and then she wants me to mix it, right? So, but she said, I don't want to give you like files, and then you need to, I would like to use this software you talking about, Reaper and whatever, and be able to record it and send it to you. Well, I talked to her in about like 5 hours. Basically she sends me files that have been recorded with her own voice on an instrumental, pretty much ordered, and she even uses takes, and they're all pretty much, I receive a project and I mix it, and I'm very glad. And that took not more than 5 hours to set her up with templates and all that.
But we can get you moving pretty quickly, man. I think the benefit of checking in and doing it with somebody one-on-one is that you avoid all of the doubling back and all of the, that turned out to be a rabbit hole that you might do if you're trying to tackle this kind of stuff on your own.
Is that Scott speaking?
It is indeed. Send us an email, man. At the very least, we will be able to upgrade you from a thimble to an egg cup.
Well, if I'm hearing you correctly, you don't mind working with a knucklehead.
Yeah, fine.
Correct.
Okay, great.
There
Look,
are
hey,
Reaper
these
plugins
guys-
for that. There
these-
are ways to, yeah.
These guys work with me all the time, Steve. So yeah.
Thank you, mates.
Man, thank you, Steve. Thank you. Likey, what we got going?
So let's get to Miriam. I think it's Miriam. Miriam, you're live.
Hey, Miriam.
Hello.
Hey.
So, it's actually like 11 here, 11 p.m. So yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, I was here the last webinar and it was pretty awesome. I just have some questions actually about MIDI, but the first one is about rendering in Reaper because I'm just kind of confused. I've had a project. It's composition of me on piano, and I wanna render it. So if I render it to a wave or whatever, would it like affect the project? Because maybe I wanna work on it after later, whatever. So
No,
would
you
it
can
affect
do
the
that.
project or things in it?
Yeah, the render
Okay.
is completely separate from the project.
Okay, thank you. My other question is about MIDI. Sometimes when I play piano and I try to put sustain and stuff, it doesn't be accurate. So does it depend on what instrumental I use, what MIDI instrument I use or stuff? Sorry about that.
It can do. Which
So
piano?
it doesn't depend on the plugin.
It can do, yeah. Which piano?
Yeah, because I've tried I've tried MIDI something called MDA piano, but it was awful. It was totally awful. And yeah. So and I've tried DAW piano. I don't remember what it was.
I'd
But
say
it was better. Yeah.
I'd say post in the Reaper. You're in the Reaper Access WhatsApp group, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, post in there and ask for recommendations of free good pianos. People will come forward.
It doesn't matter if it's free or not, actually. So my other question is about how can I make the legato and staccato things on Reaper, like the musical things. I mean.
Oh, that's more a notation. You're talking about notation, right?
Yes.
That's a bit more complicated because the notation part in Reaper, it's a new comer. Like it's not long that Reaper has it, and frankly, accessibility in there is a bit. It's basically you don't have many things accessible. Basically, what you can do, you can go into the MIDI editor, hit Alt-4, and you get in the notation editor. And then you can explore the menus and the actions that if you hit F4, go to action list and type notation, you will see what you can do. There's not much you can do. Probably you can put your staccato, marcato, pizzicato, whatever you want, legato as lyric events, but probably that's all you can do. The signs and all are not, there's not really a notation software.
Yeah.
You want
Sibelius is going to be an option when you start talking about notation software.
Yeah, I've got Sibelius, but I think the latest versions are accessible. I think I don't know.
Oh, on Sibelius?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's amazingly accessible.
Wow.
And you can get a free version and pile around in it.
Yeah, I'm
Check it out.
gonna give it a shot.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
my other question is about the sustain thing, because I don't know how to make the sustain. Sometimes if I play a piece, sustain is important for me. I've looked at Reaper. I mean, yeah, paddle. I mean, is there something in Reaper that I could do to make sustain if I'm not playing with my MIDI keyboard?
You might want to. So you don't want to use the keyboard at all? to create it?
Yeah, if under any circumstances I don't use my keyboard, my MIDI keyboard, and I want to put sustain. So
I believe you have to. The only option you have is going to the event list and manually insert the controller pedal 64 where you want it, and then reinsert it where you don't want it, and specify the values. If you don't want to use a keyboard, I believe that's your only option. Unless Scott, you might want to add. You had something to say?
That's all I've got. Event list in the MIDI editor is Alt 3 to get in that view. Once you've got the MIDI editor open.
Then hit letter I, and you have a bunch of things that you can insert at the cursor position. And if your cursor position isn't respected, hit Control F on the MIDI event list, and you will get to the cursor position.
So the events that you want to insert to control sustain are CC number 64. All I can tell you, man, is doing it that way without a pedal is grunt work. Like, it is possible.
Yeah.
It's slow and cumbersome.
yeah. Yeah. So my last question, like, how do I know when I got my electric piano? I didn't I got it for practicing, so I didn't know if I can use it as a controlled surface. So like, how could I do that, or how could I know that it's available? I mean, like, to control my DAW through it.
Which keyboard have you got?
Well, I get an electric piano. It's not specifically basically a MIDI keyboard. It's Roland FB60, I think. Yeah, Roland FB60.
Oh, does anybody know that one?
No, but I have a suggestion. If that thing has USB, then look for two things. One, on Google, look for drivers. If they exist, install them. If they don't exist, then they go into your Reaper, Preferences, Media Devices. When you have your device, input device, you have enable, and you also have enable for controller messages. And then basically, if you hit what is that thing? F4, you tap a couple of times here, find shortcut, and then push buttons on your keyboard. If you hear errors, it means that your messages are going through. They're going to nothing because you haven't mapped any. So that's one way to know.
Yeah. So but how do I know what buttons I'm gonna use or for controlling? Like, is there any tutorial that can help me through it, or I have to try?
That can depend also on your keyboard. How many if you like a fader, if you have knobs, if you have buttons, it really depends what you have on your keyboard, because you can map things, but we have to understand what you have to answer that question.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'd say get on get on the WhatsApp group, man. Tell us which keyboards you've got. If you catch me on a day when I'm procrastinating and I'm avoiding doing something, chances are I'll probably Google it and have a few suggestions for you.
Thank you, Miriam. Awesome. So moving on down the line.
Great. Tony Gebhard, you're live.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me?
Hey, Tony.
Hey, how we doing? So actually, a number of my questions were answered through the webinar. Just want to say quickly, as a comment, love IC Music. My friend Kevin here in Michigan got me introduced to you guys. Yeah, you know Kevin.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is to Scott. You had mentioned the Dropbox. I'm actually interested in getting into the tutorials that you guys might have in that as a good start to it, because I've been kind of stagnating with Reaper. I've had it installed both on my Mac Mini and on my PC the last 3 years, but I haven't gotten around to touching it. So like to have a good kickstart would be awesome. So I'd love what's a good email or something like that where I can maybe potentially be a part of that.
Yep. Are you on any of the support lists? Are you on Reaper Without Peepers or the WhatsApp channel?
No, not yet.
Okay, just send me an email then. scottchesworth@gmail.com.
Awesome. Scott with a K?
With a C and a double T.
Okay.
Chesworth, CHES Worth at gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know which email address you use for Dropbox, and I'll shoot you an invitation to the folder. There's loads of good stuff in there.
Awesome. I'd love to see more webinars, guys. You guys do an excellent job at addressing a lot of these features. So kudos.
Yeah, every Friday, man. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, Scott, is that Dropbox? Is it? Do people need like the paid version? Like how much information, how much content is in there?
We're under the 2 gig limit, but we are going to suck up quite a lot of your free Dropbox space if you're on the free plan. I think we're at like 1.5 gig.
I've got the 2 terabyte plan for business with mixing jobs and
there
stuff
we
like
go.
that, so it'll work out
Nice.
just okay.
Nice.
Awesome.
Hey,
Yeah,
thanks,
1.25 gigs, friends. So if you can handle it, there it is.
Hey, works for me.
No, the free plan, yes. I'm on the free plan.
Very good.
Cool.
Hey, all right, Tony. Thanks a lot, man. Hey, that's a cool deal, man. You know, Kevin out in Michigan. That's a cool deal. What kind of work are you doing?
Oh, I'm
Oh, you muted him. Oh,
I'm
okay.
unmuting him though.
Can you hear me?
Are you
Yeah,
still
we
there?
got you.
All right. I'm a metal guy. Just released my 3rd album, so I'm part of the URM group with Joey Sturgis and all those guys.
Ooh.
So I do a lot of major productions with Logic and stuff like that. It's fun.
That's Scott's area, man.
Yeah, man, it's fun. I just got Get Good drums, so I've been all over that the last few days.
Which one you got?
Yeah,
I got Modern and Massive.
Yeah, same.
Oh, it's so mean, man. It's mean.
Dude, I have an amazing Reaper track template that I've built for that. So maybe
Ooh, you gotta hook a brother up then. I love it. And I'm excited to use it with the complete control because I noticed it is a contact instrument. One of my buddies had to team viewer me to help me set up a couple of presets, but now that I'll have the S49, it'll be a lot better.
Their NKS mapping isn't great, to be honest.
I've heard.
Yeah, I've been hassling them about it for quite a long time, and I'm not really making any headway. But I'm resilient, so we'll see what happens.
That's what it takes in the music industry. Awesome.
All right, man.
All right, kudos. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Tony. Hey, Lucky, I guess we move on to the next one, huh?
Yeah, there are some hands up here, but I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure I lowered the hands of people who spoke, but it's people who already spoke. So I'm just gonna unmute Chris Turner.
Okay, but do we have any that may have come before those?
No, we're down to now the last 3 questions, and then there's just a comment on Q&A and
Very cool.
another question. Yeah.
I'll definitely unmute Chris. He'll be 3 more pints in.
Hi, it's Chris again. No, hopefully this is a quick one, but so it's relating to the MIDI editor, which I do use a lot. But one thing that I've missed, and maybe I'm going about it the wrong way, how can I get rid of everything but notes? So accidental kind of channel pressure, program controls. I tried it in the event list, and I tried to do control shift and A, highlighting one. I thought that would select all of that type of event, but it didn't seem to do it. But basically,
might
strip
wanna
out
try to
everything
filter
but notes.
window. You might want to try to filter a window with F.
Oh, yeah.
And you can select there what you might want to filter, and there is a whole you can filter controls and stuff, and then you can select them all and get rid of them. That should get you going.
One thing I'd say, Chris, is it sounds like you're using the event list view at the moment.
Yeah, I normally use the piano roll, but I went into the event list to see the like channel pressure and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then I thought I could use the same controls, to select all the channel pressure and just get rid of it.
No, the Control Shift A command, it only works on notes of
piano
the
roll. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That clears that up. Yeah, I thought I was just going mad.
2 things for you. If you want to be in the event list view, are you doing that for drum?
It's mainly so sometimes I've imported MIDI from elsewhere and want to get rid of program controls. I mean, when I'm importing my own stuff, I tend to use the piano roll, but it's just kind of tidying up sometimes. I go into event list.
Right. The filter window is going to be it for you, man. Hit F.
What is happening with this thing?
Oh, someone's audible.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we got Lucky. I think we got another one.
Oh, sorry about that. Hello.
Yep.
Great. Okay. Cool. Sorry. That was
yeah, F from the.
Hello. Am I audible again?
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Okay. So 2 things. Going back to Owen's point about the render dialog. I have used the save and close method before, and what I found is it either will save for, so I do most of my stuff in 96K FLAC, and I'll do save and close, and it will save that for a while, and then it will revert back to WAV. And there's no pattern to it, so I don't know if it's going to do that the next time I open it, or if it's going to go on saving and rendering the way I want it for weeks, and then just back to Wave.
Question: when you open a project, like you start Reaper, do you have a template that opens, or you just start with a new project and start from there?
Well, I have it set right now so that anything that was open opens up again, and that if I need to create a new project, then I'll just do Alt-Shift-N.
That actually does new project tab, so you will have two projects open. Alt-Shift-N does new project tab. Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing I found as well is when I try and go into settings or preferences, and I'm trying to change the sensitivity of transient detection. I go in there and I find the slider or whatever it is, and then I'm immediately kicked out. And it
Yeah, that
happens
is not
over
accessible.
and over again, so I cannot
to change
make any
that.
headway.
No, to change that, you need to use the action that are mapped to do that. That window is not accessible. So what you have to do is, if I remember correctly, Alt Control page up and down will do sensitivity, and let me actually check. I have it in front of me. So the threshold is Alt Control page up and down, and the sensitivity is Alt Shift page up and down. So you might want to use those keystrokes because that window is not accessible, and those ones will not talk, but they will get the job done.
That transient detection window, it kind of is accessible, but you've got to be pretty good with Object Nav if you use an NVDA. But assuming you know how to use Object Nav, that window is kind of accessible.
Yeah, I know how to use Object Nav, and it's just I go into preferences and I find the button, and as soon as I click the button, it disappears.
From interesting. I've never tried doing it from preferences. There's a keystroke that will get you straight in that window from the track view, which is, hang on,
Alt Control Shift T.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm the keystroke guy.
Yeah.
New robot.
I guess I'll try it again and maybe see if I can catch a recording of it and post it to the WhatsApp group or something.
Yep. Show us
And if you cannot get with Object Nav, those two set of keystrokes will help you with changing sensitivity and threshold.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Jesse. Hey, I like you. Hey, so Chris Turner, I just want to make sure we was clear on him. Yeah.
That was accidental, and
That's all right.
That happened, but here we go back to Chris.
Because this 3 pint in more thing, I'm really interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the MIDI filter is something I've looked at a little bit, but I kind of got lost in it, so I need to explore in there, and I might hit people up on the email list with follow-up questions on that one.
Very cool.
Great.
Cheers.
Hey man, Chris, thanks, man. Thanks a lot.
All right. So now on to the Q&A questions. I'm gonna go with Gary because he has a few things to say. He said this is going back to Scott. I definitely now want to do a one-on-one course. And then he said, quick question for Derek. I remember how hugely informative your classes were on the Cavi material when it was released, but it was difficult to navigate the files in order to listen to them as they were meant to be heard. Is it worth reordering that material and making it available again?
I think you got the panelists muted, maybe.
I'm sorry, my internet was breaking. Try that again.
Oh.
I do apologize.
No problem. All right, great. I remember how hugely informative your classes were on the Cavi material when it was released, but it was difficult to navigate the files in order to listen to them as they were meant to be heard. Is it worth reordering the material and making it available again?
Honestly, it's kind of enough of it's still up to date to mess you up. So you'll be going along, and it's great. Where'd they go? What? It's different because there's enough key changes and there's enough preferences in Reaper that have changed in the order they've been presented to where you can kind of, it's sort of a tease now, in my opinion anyway.
I think the kind of the aim for the free stuff that I'm currently in the way of being made is to sort of supersede that Cavu material and replace it with another free offering. And just so Gary knows, Derek's part of that as well. So you're still going to get all of the good informative stuff, but it's going to be like made now with Reaper as it is now.
Because most of that was Reaper 2016, 2017. We've really made a lot of changes in 4 years.
Yeah. Reaper itself and Asara as well has really changed in that time.
Gary also asked, sorry, one more question. What are sub-projects for?
They're projects within projects.
We need Justin. But go
yeah,
on.
Justin would be...
Well, to summarize, it's basically you can treat a whole project as an item in another project, basically. So you're going to have I don't know, a sound that you're working with. You want to say, okay, I want to treat this as a whole item in my other project. You render it as a sub-project, and that's what you do with that.
One thing I'd say about sub-projects, it might just be a weird brain sort of block on my end, but I'd say go into them expecting to have your brain broken into bits.
They might be a good solution for what you're trying to do in terms of having a project and still have all your other stuff there.
That's
so
true.
You have your top level project with everything,
and
your actual final project as a sub project might be another solution to that problem. But I think there's easier, better ones maybe that don't involve learning a whole heap of new stuff.
Because sub-projects are weird. Like, let's say you have a song and you have this big old massive orchestral thing laid out and complete. And that's part of a scene where you've got all kinds of other sound effects on top. You're doing like a dramatic audio book scene, really going after it. And that song is like 12 tracks, but it's a bunch of stuff, a bunch of heavy-hitting plugins on your machine. You could make that a sub-project. And let's say somebody's like, I wish there was a key change in the middle of that song. You open a song up, you do the edit to the song, and you save that out. And then the next time you open your main project that needs that sub-project, it goes, oh, wait, that sub-project's different. Let me re-render this out for you and stick it in your main thing as an item.
I think the people that I've seen using sub-projects successfully are very strategic in their workflows.
Yeah.
So worth exploring, maybe worth learning about if you can find a use for it, but go into it with a strategy.
Okay, thanks for those questions, Gary. Very nice.
We have an anonymous attendee. Is the Zoom being recorded, and will we be able to go back to it at all?
It is being recorded and will be released. I keep saying this as kind of like a podcast. Once we get these podcasts out, and blame me because I'm sitting on the trigger and I have it on safety. So yeah, all I have to reach down to do is hit the safety, and everything that we've been webinaring on, Q&A on / we've also been cutting podcast episodes officially too as well. We started that late in mid 2019. I'm not proud to say, but so yeah, so it in short, yeah, they will be released. This recording.
His New Year's resolution for 2022 is to get all the
podcast fast catching up with the Audio Roundtable's release.
Yeah, release schedule.
Well, we got it, Likey. Yeah, it's getting hot in here.
Monica, you're live, Monica.
Monica.
Can you hear me?
We got you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hi. Okay. To be completely honest and well, vulnerable. I never heard of IC Music. I have met Derek and Gianluca from Kabi.
Okay.
Just because I took the Reaper class.
Nice.
But in honestly, I haven't used it. So I wanted to use it, and then I just completely couldn't figure stuff out. So is it worth changing to the new Reaper, even though I can't use my old notes anymore? I'm sorry to be so blunt.
Which version did you learn on?
5.4.
And can you still get stuff done in 5.4 according, like if you follow your notes, can you still get stuff done?
To be honest, I tried to start following my notes and I haven't gotten very far. So
okay.
To be honest, I wanted to start over.
So do this, lean into the community support. The community support that we've got going on at the minute is wicked. So I'd say get yourself updated to latest Reaper, latest Asara, latest SWS. You may as well be on the latest and greatest because everybody else that's going to be answering your questions in the various community support channels, that's what they're going to be running. So get yourself updated. If you like email lists, get yourself on Reaper Without Peepers. It's a groups.io group. If you like WhatsApp, get yourself on the Reaper Access WhatsApp channel. And both of those places are really supportive, really encouraging. We'll get you going again.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Derek. Thanks.
No problem. And no, Gianluca and I are not offended by the chaotic result of cat. No,
no, it wasn't that. It's just I'm embarrassed because of myself. Like I opened it like 3 days ago and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start doing, and then I was like, crap, I don't even know how to play something. That's the real honesty. I was like, I just want to play the first project I ever gave you. And I couldn't play it. I was so embarrassed. And then I saw you had this webinar and I was like, well, should I ask my question? Should I not ask my question? So I waited till the end and I'm like, okay, I'll just embarrass myself.
That's all good. No worries. But it's a space bar.
But I did.
Oh.
I went to the top and I couldn't play it.
Or did you?
Did you hear stop when you hit spacebar instead of play?
I didn't hear any sound at all.
Yeah, because probably what happened is your sound card got, Reaper couldn't find it instead of playing a thing. If it doesn't find your sound card, it gives you error, and then it goes like stop, 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 and it doesn't play anything, even though you're at the top of the project with W. Did you use W? Because the key map now has Control Home or W to go to the beginning.
Yeah,
so,
I used Control Home because that's what I remember.
That should be good, but probably it's a sound card issue. It's probably only that one.
This kind of stuff is exactly what the WhatsApp channel is good for. Just lock your recording, show us what you're trying to do, and someone will get back to you and we'll figure out what's going wrong.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Yeah. Well, I want to get back to the fact that you didn't know about, and I mean, you can go ahead and mute Monica. Thanks. Hey, Monica, thanks for the questions. But I'm finna, wrestle Florence and what did you say, Morgantown? Where you at, Derek?
Yeah, Morganton. Yeah.
Morganton. Yeah. This guy. Yeah. You never heard of IC Music, and you know these guys. Huh? All right. Oh, okay. Okay. Gianluca. Derek. Fight is on. All right. Yeah, Likey. Let's what we got next?
Wonderful. We have 2 more questions and one it's Q&A. We have 10 minutes. Tyler Burton just asked, how do you become a member of the WhatsApp group?
It's a very elite group.
Go to this URL from any device that's got WhatsApp installed. Go to tiny.cc/Reaper Access, all one word with the R and the A capitalized.
Jesus. Somebody might want to just add that cat, man.
Yeah, or get in touch with IC Music, ask them to pass along your contact details. Or
For sure.
my email address was earlier on, man, scottchesworth@gmail.com. Get in touch, we'll get you involved.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks, Tyler, for that. You said we had 2, so we got 1?
Yes, we do.
Actually, I've just thought of another way that's
Uh-oh.
easier. Go to reaperaccessibility.com, go to the useful resources page. Both of the main support groups are in there. The mailing list and the WhatsApp are both linked from there.
Tyler just asked if you could just send an email to the group.
You can send an email to get on the email list, yeah. That would be, what would it be? rwp-subscribe@groups.io.
One more time.
rwp-subscribe@groups.io. That'll get you hooked up to the email list.
And just a comment from Gary, which is respect and thanks to you all.
Man, Gary, thanks, brother.
Oh, Tyler just wanted to say one more time, he's on the email list, but not the WhatsApp group.
Oh, okay. Fire an email off saying you want to join, and I will connect with you that way.
Great. We have Steve, and yep, Steve, you're live.
Hey, Steve.
Gotcha, Steve.
You kind of sound like Jaws, Steve.
Can you hear me?
Hey.
Hey.
How you doing?
Very quick question. A lot of people on the RWP list seem to be all jacked up about the Zoom F6.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? And does it dovetail with Reaper somehow?
Yeah, it's a field recorder come interface, like a very small device with very, very high quality preamps and conversion stages. And it records in 32-bit float audio, which basically means even if you distort a recording, there's enough resolution there that you can just turn that recording down again in Reaper and the distortion magically goes away. Similarly, if you record really, really, really quietly, you can turn that audio up in Reaper and there's enough resolution there that you don't get a ton of noise coming up with it. So really, I'd say its main use, given that it's a pretty expensive piece of kit at this point, I'd say its main use would be for people that have got to capture stuff in the field that really only get one shot at capturing that. And if they do it wrong, they need to be able to rescue the audio.
Right, thanks.
Yep. Man, thanks, Steve, for the question. That was actually a good question because I just learned about this through a very knowledgeable buddy of mine. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm thinking he's talking about the L series. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, how's the latency on it? And he was like, latency? I was like, yeah. And that just showed my high level ignorance on that. And then I went and researched and I'm like, oh my God, this is through the roof. Amazing. That kind of headroom in there.
It's pretty clever. It's one of those things where I'm like, no, that is actually magic. Like,
right.
Distortion is something that I don't know. I've always thought I need to watch out for it, and now like you can just magically get rid of it. It's kind of incredible.
Gary there's a podcast Gary did.
Absolutely.
Gary he was asking questions before.
Yeah, we need to I'm gonna send a link to that, put that out.
It's the iOS app for the Zoom that's quite accessible, isn't it? I think that's how people are using it.
Yeah,
I heard it was awfully accessible.
Yeah.
Fellas, so Jesse has another question. He has his hand raised.
Go, Jesse.
Great. And we're at 5 minutes till, and here we go.
Whoop, go quick, Jesse.
Go.
Jesse, you're live. Yep.
Go.
Sorry about that. I had my hand raised and then someone else addressed it and then I lowered it and now. So what's the difference between the S6 and the H6? And because I've been looking into getting some equipment for college actually. And on top of that, do you guys think it's worthwhile to use WhatsApp on the desktop, or am I best sticking to my laptop or my phone, because I don't use WhatsApp on the phone very much, but I want to help out in the WhatsApp group whenever I get the chance to?
I can answer the WhatsApp one. The experience on iOS and Android is much better than on the desktop in terms of accessibility. So I'd say stick to your phone.
Oh, okay.
I have an
Thanks for
H6.
that.
Yeah, go on. Derek can say
So
that.
they explained the F6 beautifully in its magical goodness. the F6. Now the H6, that's in their handy series. That's the H. So what it does is it comes with 4 XLR inputs and then 2 different kinds of stereo mics you can clamp onto the top of it. So it's pretty clean, but nothing compared to the F6. But I would say if you're just capturing some music, maybe some class stuff, some ambience or whatever, an H6 would be perfect for you, because not only is it cheaper, but it has built-in mics.
Yeah,
that come with it.
and I think it's X, Y, and mid side, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, because I've been looking at getting something, but I'm kind of holding off because I don't know if my college funding will cover it or not.
Well, with the F6, you got to keep in mind you need mics to connect to it.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's 6 XLR inputs. They're magical and they're amazing, but that's what you get.
Yeah, and I don't have anything. All right.
Yeah.
So not only you got the cost of the device, but then you got the cost of the mics too, right?
Ouch. Yeah. And all I have right now is the Blue Yeti.
Hey, hey. Well, hey, hey, man, audio's audio, capturing is capturing.
But I'm just saying you won't work with the H or the F or the O
No.
and the G and all the things and the things. It's just for the computer.
Alphabet.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Thanks a lot, Jesse. Once again. Hey, look, I think we didn't probably pulled up to the curb. Spoken by your blind driver, Mr. Byron Harden here. Thank you to Mr. Scott Chesworth, Garth Humphreys, Derek Lane, and Mr. Gianluca Apolaro. And again, this was magical. This is a lot of questions. Clearly over close to 40 people in here. So that was just in the Zoom. So I don't know how many was, on the Facebook Live situation, but people are really interested in knowing what their capabilities are with Zoom. I mean, with Zoom, with Reaper. Sorry. Reapers with peepers or without peepers, whatever. Both. Yeah, this is Byron Hard. Hey, thanks again, everybody. And we'll be back next week with beat making for beat makers, totally blind beat makers from around the country, using different apparatus software to make the beats. And thanks. We'll see you then. Unless y'all got something to say. I mean, hey, panelist wise.
No, it's 11 p.m. I haven't had my dinner yet. I'm off.
Well, here in Italy, I'm glad of being here, helping. If that helped, I'm very glad. And thank you guys for being here with us today, and hope to see you at IC Music.
Ciao.
Ciao a tutti.
Ciao a tutti.
Shut it down.